Mishnah Daled. Mishnah zo baa lelamdenu. This Mishnah comes to teach us שהפועלים קוראים שמע בשעת מלאכתם. What about a worker who needs to read Shema at the time of his work? Now, what's the idea over here? So there's a couple of interesting things that we can learn from over here. In other words, the time doesn't belong to you. The time, if you work for somebody, the time you're renting your time to him. You work by the hour or you work by the day. So you're renting your time to him. So your time doesn't belong to you. So it says, are you allowed to take off for davening? Is that or are you not? That's the idea. So let's see. And also it's going to be discussed, are you allowed to say Shema and endanger yourself? As we're going to see soon. He's going to give the example. וכן מובא בברייתא, and this is what it's what in ברייתא, בית הלל אומרים, it says, בית הלל says, עוסקים במלאכתם וקוראים. It says, you say the Shema while working. So if, for example, you're a blacksmith, and you're making the cell, while you're working, you can say the Shema. Yeah? So let's see. האומנים, the artisan. Who are the artisan? בעלי מלאכה העוסקים במלאכתם. All kinds of artisans who are busy in the work. כגון, for example, פועל העומד על אילן. There's a worker who's standing on top of a tree. That's his job. ועוסק בגיזום ובכיתוף. And he takes either he trims the tree or he takes off fruit from the tree. Or, another example, בנאי העומד על הפיגום. You have a builder who's standing on this, what do you call those things? Scaffolding. On the scaffolding, very good. ועוסק בבניית קיר. He's busy building a wall. והגיע זמן קריאת שמע. And as we learned in the beginning of the Masechet Berachot, there's a particular time you have to say Shema by. And the time just came now. And he said, oh, I didn't say Shema. So what should he do? So it says, אינם צריכים לרדת למטה. Now, if he's going to go down, all the way down from the pigum, it's going to take him like 10 minutes, waste his time, 10 minutes down, 10 minutes up to say the Shema. So it says he doesn't need to go down לקרוא, to read the Shema. Ella says, why would you think that he would need the time to take down? Because we already said that the way you should say Shema is with the correct concentration. Now, if you're hanging on the scaffolding, are you going to be able to say the correct concentration? So he says, doesn't matter. You still don't need to go down. You can say the Shema while hanging from the scaffolding. Don't worry about it. You don't have to take the time to go down and to say the right word. You don't have to have ultimate intention. Let's call it this way. קוראים בראש האילן או בראש הנדבך. You're allowed, or you should even, read it in the head of the tree or in the head of the scaffolding. כשהם עומדים על האילן או על הנדבך. When you are standing on top of that. נדבך הוא שורה של אבנים או לבנים בבניין. נדבך is a row of stones or of bricks in the building. So in the Shema, in other words, when you say the Shema, you don't need full concentration. You can just say it while it's still hanging. You don't. מה שאין כן רשאי לעשות כן בתפילה, but if he wants to pray the 18, the Amida, the 18 blessings, which is actually 19 blessings, that we're going to learn later on, that he can't. He needs concentration for, as we're going to see. תפילת סתם הנזכרת במשנה, where it says davening, when it is mentioned in Mishnah, this is another mistake that many people think. They think that Shema is part of davening. Shema is a separate mitzvah. It's nothing to do with davening. We put them together because if you're already saying Shema, already daven, already pray. It's the same thing, but it's two different completely. One has nothing to do with the other. ובאה המשנה להשמיענו, the Mishnah comes to teach us, שתפילת 18, that when you daven the 18, with the Amida, אין הפועלים רשאים להתפלל כשהם עומדים בראש האילן. The workers are not allowed to pray when they're in the top of the tree, or בראש הנדבך, or on the top of the scaffolding. Why? שכן התפילה בגשת רחמים היא. Because davening, it is asking for mercy from God. וצריכה כוונת הלב. And that needs intention. If you're not even asking, so what's the idea? The idea is to connect to God in davening. If you're not connecting, you're just saying words, you're not connecting, you're not in the mitzvah. In Shema, the mitzvah is to receive upon the yoke of heaven, but the mitzvah is to say it, and the mitzvah is a commandment from God. והעומדים על האילן או על הנטבח אינם יכולים לכוון. And if you're standing on top of a tree or on top of a row of bricks, you can't have the intention that only God is here. Why not? שמפחדים הם שיפלו, because you're worried every second, I'm going to fall down. That's what you're thinking about. You're thinking about not falling. You're not thinking about God. הילקח, therefore, יורדים הם למטה ומתפללים. Therefore, they go down and then they daven. ברמב"ט, בקריאת שמע, אין צריך כוונה אלא בפסוק ראשון בלבד. Also in Shema you need intention though. But in Shema you only need intention for how long? To be your obligation. Only the first verse. So only the first verse you can have the intention, and then you can just say the words automatically. That's fine. It's not fine, but that's the best you can do right now. כמו שהבנו לעיל, like we brought before. ויכולים לכוון בו גם כשהם עומדים למעלה, and they can have that meaning also when they are standing up on the top of the dangerous place. מכל מקום פוסק הרמב"ם, nevertheless the Rambam writes, שהאומנים קוראים אומנם בראש האילן או בראש הנטבח, that the artisans are allowed to read in dangerous places like in the head, like in the top of the tree or the top of the scaffolding, אבל בטלים הם מלאכתם בקריאת הפרשה הראשונה כולה. But they should completely stop working at that time. In other words, they're not allowed to continue to doing whatever they wrote and say Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu. That doesn't work. They have to go Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu and then continue. In other words, it's like an in-between state. So, בטלים מלאכתם בקריאת הפרשה הראשונה כולה. They need to read the entire first portion without working, not while working. Why? כדי שלא תהיה קריאתם ארעי. So even though they're allowed to, it's better not to, because you're not wasting so much of your master's time. It's okay, it's not considered. כדי שלא תהיה, so that because if you're going to start doing it every time in the middle of your work, it's not going to be important in your eyes.
Stealing, though. Wouldn't it also become stealing eventually? Because it would be taken from your master.
Very good. So the idea behind it is that when you rent yourself out and you're a Jew, the master knows that you're going to take that time off. It's already subconscious in the contract. It's like today at your job, every job you're taking, you didn't say how many times you're going to go to the bathroom. But it's taking that a person who works for 18 hours a day is going to take time to go to the bathroom. I don't know how many times, but whatever is normal. So that's the same idea. You don't have to have it in the contract. It's obvious. Same thing, it's going to be obvious that a person is going to take this amount of time. But if the guy says, you know what, I'm renting out you for $50 a day, and the guy goes and he starts davening in the middle of the day for 3 hours, because he's a tzaddik, then the guy can have a complaint and says, hey, I'll let you time to daven. You know how much? The required amount of time that God says that you need the intention for.
But not the superfluous, doing this is not procrastination.
That's right. Not to do it, even if the guy is a righteous person and he usually davens for 3 hours. Says, that's not, I didn't hire you.
It's not what he paid him to do.
That's right. So when you do it, you do the minimum required by God, and then you can come back to me.